Great crowd. We are pleased to be here tonight. Okay, let's bring up the coach. Sturm Cafe, das ist uns ganz egal. Mit Cola und McDonald's, Stagnation. Das Kapital nimmt es jeden Tag, der Kauflust ist total. Haut auf alle Leute, was wollen wir dagegen tun? Gegen Cola müssen wir kämpfen, über die ganze Welt. Mit Cola und McDonald's, Stagnation. Das Kapital nimmt es jeden Tag, die Kauflust ist total. Immer ganz total. Es ist voll mit Koffein, das ist uns ganz egal. Mit Cola und McDonald's, Stagnation. Das Kapital in der Jäger, die Kampflust ist total. Immer ganz total. Was wollen wir dagegen tun? Gegen Cola müssen wir kämpfen. Wir müssen kämpfen über die ganze Welt. Mit Cola und McDonald's, Stagnation. Ja, aber total, das jeden Tag. Die Kampflust ist total. What if you say you're Jonathan and I go? No, I say I'm Gustav, Jonathan. We are Sturm Cafe. You watching EBM Day?
Yeah. Cool.
Hej, jag är Gustav.
Jag är Jonathan.
Det är vi som är Sturm Cafe.
Välkomna till EBM-dagen.
All right, everybody, we switched camera angles. We're streaming on the main computer. We're fully into EBM Day today for you guys. It's a special day worldwide from all over the place. But one of the things that's going to make it super special today is we have an interview with Sturm Cafe today. We're going to talk about their new album. This is kind of a release party for it. You know, we're going to celebrate it all day long. You're going to hear tracks in some of the DJ sets later. You'll hear it in my set. Later, you'll hear it in Scott Durand's. We're really excited about this album. So I want to welcome to EBM Day, Sturm Cafe, Gustav and Jonathan. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
We're super happy to have you guys here. I hope the pandemic has been treating you guys okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's we've been healthy, staying healthy, and we're concentrating on making music instead of being out touring. So so finish a new album. So it's in that case, it's been we've been very fortunate. So, but we had to cancel a lot of concerts and stuff. So
we're lucky because we get the new album. We don't get you guys live anytime soon. Yeah. But tell us about the new album. We're so super excited for it.
Well, the new album is I would describe it as a playful album. We just sat down. I had a week's vacation. I've moved down to Gustav in southern of Sweden, where he lived back then. And we just set up the synthesizers and began to jam. And then in 7 days, we had come up with 7 or 8 songs. So we came in a good mood and jammed some songs and built some structures. So it was a very playful album. It just came naturally. The songs came pretty naturally.
And I guess we kind of just cleared out our old sound database with the old drums or everything, and we just started all over, from a blank sheet. So that's why the album maybe feels very fresh in that sense. We haven't really recycled any sounds we used before. So our goal was to make something that still sounded Sturm Cafe, but something completely new, really.
Yeah, I think you guys accomplished that. It has a very modern production quality to it. It sounds brand new, but it has that instant recognizability of Sturm Cafe.
Yeah. I've always been kind of fascinated by knowing some of the history of Sturm Cafe because of myself being a future pop, synth pop fan. Plus, one of the first albums I ever bought was a Nights Are Out album. So I started originally as a teenager listening to EBM. And one of the things I think has always made Sturm Cafe really stand out to me is that a lot of the EBM bands don't use the really melodic synth pads that you guys do. And that always makes me, I always know if I play 4 or 5 songs in, if I play one of your tracks, it's going to jump out. So that's always been really, really interesting to me, how you use those really, and they're so recognizable, but always unique as well. And it really makes the project stand out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the beginning, our first album is not as melodic as the 2 one after, and it's have more to do with the limitations in the equipment we actually had, and nothing to do with didn't want to make melodies. I guess we, coming from Sweden, people say we have melodies in our blood. They say it might come from folk music traditions that's very melodic. We don't really know. It's just natural for us, I guess.
Yes, we listened to a lot of different music when we grew up, a lot of Euro techno and stuff. So I already I listened to a lot of music with melodies, and it just came natural to bring him into the music.
So tell for people that don't know the origin of the name Sturm Cafe. Where's that come from?
I guess it's we had another name for the first, I would say maybe 6-8 months of the band back in 2001, and then my dad thought, but the name was kind of sucked, so he was like, why don't you call yourself Sturm Cafe or Sturm Cafe? And we were like, yeah, why not? So there's no real meaning behind it. It's just sounding good, actually.
But it has that playfulness. It has that sound that's it's very serious sounding, but it also has that playfulness. I think it's a good fit for your guys' music.
Yeah. It was actually my dad's vinyl collection. We kind of discovered when we were 14 with Nights Red, Front 242, Clinic, Cabaret Voltaire, Liaison Dangerous, bands like that. So he always was he supported us, when we were kids. Even if like even like when we made like a bad song and we just said like, oh, scrap that song, it sounds like shit, you know.
Yeah.
But which we were like, well, fuck you. I mean, we think it sound good, so we kind of revolted against him. I think he wanted us to downplay the melody thing, but we didn't, and I think that was the best thing we could do. Just ignore that his statement, or yeah.
He wanted you to be Clinic or Nitz or Ebb. You got to be your own thing, right?
Exactly. So, but now he's a big fan of us. Now he also do our like our taxes and shit because he's an accountant. So we pay him with free records and T-shirts, and he loves that. So.
Nice.
I think it's interesting how some of the, I've been playing 30 years, and when I was young, I would get records, and I remember like sitting down with Patrick Codinas, and he told me the story behind writing Quite Unusual and some of the songs. And those songs all had meanings, but it was so interesting because I used to look at these records as a kid, and when I was first starting out DJing, and I would, wonder, like in pre-internet days, of course, many, many years before the internet, and looking at a Nights or Ebb album and wondering, like, this like almost like a myth, and wondering what does it all mean. So it's really wild. Like 30 years later, last year, I'm sitting down with Douglas in Houston at Numbers nightclub, and talking about how, the name really just looked good. The font looked good. Kind of like for 30 years, I thought there was like, that it meant something to them. And he's like, well, it looked good on the paper.
For sure.
That's really cool though, how it shows you the overall creativity though, that even the name of a project, when you look at how I have so many friends. If I put it in Sturm Cafe to go tag you guys when I play a song, I have 10 friends or 15 friends that have your name in their name of their profile on Facebook.
Oh yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, it feels like we have I would say a very dedicated fan base. Like, we're not the biggest EBM band by any means, but we have a very loyal fan base, and it shows now when we put out the new album, and people who pre-order it, they don't order just the vinyl, they order the vinyl, the CD, and the cassette, and a couple of T-shirts, and it's like insane. But we're very fortunate. It's taken us to 3 different continents for touring, so we're very fortunate and happy for that.
So the album is out today on 2/24.
Yes.
Where should people go to get it?
Well, they could go through Bandcamp, or they could we have the link to the Bandcamp on our regular homepage, sturmcafe.se too. So if they just follow sturmcafe.se, and they can follow the Bandcamp link there, straight to Bandcamp. Yeah.
That sounds good. So what do we expect from Sturm Cafe in 2021? Do we know?
For the moment, no, but since we now live in the same city, the circumstances are really good for making much more music on a regular basis.
Yeah, I literally moved back to my hometown, Gävle, like 4 weeks ago. So then I'm moving into a house in a couple of weeks, and we're going to set up a new studio there. So, and our goal is to buy a new Prophet 5 synthesizer, which is a very expensive synthesizer, but it's kind of a dream synthesizer for us. So we try to update the machines for every release. So we hope that can bring something to our new sound. But for now, we're just going to make music, continue to make music. And whenever Corona is gone or COVID is gone, we're going to start tour again,
Sounds good. So we're super excited to have you guys today. We're going to go into a classics track next, and then we will revisit your album through the rest of the day. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yes.